What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Welcome back. We are here. Hey, hope you're doing well. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. Now let's get to this content. This one is actually called Jobava with question marks. Why? Because of what's going to happen in this game. I'm playing with the black pieces, Pedro Espinana, playing with the white pieces, National Master, and this is round 6 of the Chicago Open. Reason why we actually are now doing these and this was like a month ago too that I had these tournaments, but the reason for it is candidates came up. I had the matches for the I Am Not a GM Speed Chess Championship. I made it to the finals. We did lose to Eric by 3 in the finals there. It was definitely a hard game, definitely difficult, or a hard match, right? And we gave him everything that we got. We're going to cover all those games as well. And my birthday came up, guys. We're back though. We're back. Buckle up. Now we're going to look at this one and go through the rest of the games for this. For this tournament, the next one, and then I also have one coming up at the end of the month in July here, going to Charlotte to norm up. You know how we do, guys. So a lot of times, mindset wise for me, if I'm not in norm chances by a certain round, or if I don't really have chances to make a norm or huge performances, then I'm cool with taking draws at certain ratings and etc. Because I'm just ready to get out of there and actually study and work on my game, especially if I've learned. Usually I do about what I need to do for the next game. So here we go. D4, right? Knight of 6. And then he goes knight to c3, and I'm like, Jobava. Immediately, I'm like, wow, okay. And the reason why is because I am a legendary player in the Jobava London. Legendary, very legendary, right? So you're playing it against me, the Jobava London? Have you lost your mind? That's what I was thinking then, bro. That's really what I was thinking. It's like, has this man lost his mind playing the Jobava London against Mr. Jobava London, right? I'm like an expert at this, like a real expert at the Jobava London. But okay, right? So I go actually now. I play D5, which is obviously the move you make. D5. He goes bishop to F4, and then I chose. So there's many ways you can go here. G6 I like mostly now. But of course, you have to be willing to go into the wild lines with H4, which I just know I'm going to do that. I'm not going to give any Jobava help because I like to play the Jobava London. So you're on your own there. But at the same time here, after this bishop F4 move, I go with a more, okay, E6. This is a route that a lot of strong players will play. I've also seen Sam Shanklin has some E6 line stuff with bishop B4 and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, we'll go here. He goes knight B5, which is more of the Hans. Shout out to big Hans out here. The more of the Hans line with knight B5, easy. I go knight A6, defending the pawn. E3, standard. All this is standard. And then I go C6 to kick the knight back, and then I'm going to go C5 next. So he brings the knight back, and I could go C5, but that allows knight B5. So I go bishop to b4. This is all theory. I remember seeing this before. And then here, I'm used to seeing knight to e2, right? Knight to e2 is like what I've seen most times. I mean, you can also play a3, but I'm going to take it. And he doesn't play it. So he plays bishop d3, and that's when I knew, oh, yeah, you don't play the Jobava like I play the Jobava, big fella. That is an error, right? That is a slight error. Slight error because of this move right here. C5, which now... Knight b5 is not a possibility. I can play c4. You could take on a6, but I mean, okay, yeah, bishop takes, right? Bishop takes, pawn takes. Yeah, I have the double pawns, but so what, right? And maybe I can actually still double yours. Knight e4 is annoying. Queen a5, right? Maybe move the bishop out this way and have a great game. Maybe even, you know, reroute the rook somehow to the b file. Lots of play. Lots of play. He didn't go for this. He goes for a3. A3, I take on c3. Takes back, and at this point, after I play c4 and bishop, he plays bishop f1. By the way, here's the reason why bishop f1 is the best move, right? And actually, Engine says you could play bishop e2, and weirdly enough, but he went bishop f1, which is logical because after bishop e2, I have queen a5, which attacks the pawn, and then if you defend the pawn, then knight e4, and I'm just completely winning. Knight e4, and now you just lose. You just literally lose on the spot, get the man off the board. That's a wrap, right? So after queen moves, queen takes, and then, like, you know, this is ridiculous, right? So this is terrible, absolutely terrible. So after c4, he goes bishop f1. So I'm feeling good here. I'm like, yeah, like this is about to be a dub. Like let's get this. You know, this is a dub here, right? So, but it was not as easy. So I go knight e4. I still attack the pawn here. I attack the pawn on c3. He goes knight e2 to defend the pawn on c3. Very easy. If I go queen a5, right? Which is the plan, he can go this nasty move f3. attacking my knight, and if I take, I actually lose because of queen d2, and I'm pinned here. Make sure you're looking COE calculation over everything, right? Every time we say that, the merch store pops up, shopcantymerch.com. I got on my rook lift shirt, by the way. Do you even rook lift, right? It's right here. Do you even rook lift? Yeah, right there. Do you even rook lift? Shopcantymerch.com. Absolutely. But of course, as we get back to it and we realize that you're losing if you play this line, so I can't play it. So I go back, right? I go back and we look at this again. After 94, 92, I can't play queen a5. Engine says g5. I'm like, yo, no, I'm not a fan. There's also like f3. Like, I'm just not playing wild like that. So I cancel. I continue development. He plays f3. My idea here, though, was to actually not move my knight back to f6, but to go knight d6, which was played. And then he plays g4. My idea now is to play f6, knight f7, rook e8, play e5. That's the whole goal. So I play f6, engine approved. He goes h4. And then I started realizing, you know, the one thing about Jobava that I hate sometimes, right? Bruh. You know, especially like me playing from the black side, is if they get the attack, they're going to, like, it looks very annoying. Now, black's totally fine, but this is just very annoying to deal with. And this is why certain Jobava lines that I played now, that I'm just not going to tell you what they are, but those lines are actually nicer and more aggressive for me to play than in this game right here. This is like, yeah, okay, you prefer black, but like, I mean, this is not that bad for white, to be honest. I can't really even break, and everything's all nice and solid. So after knight f7, nice little maneuver here, rook e8, e5, bishop g2. Like, it really, like, it felt like we were not pressuring him the entire game. Even though he played it with an inaccuracy, it felt like it was still nothing to do, or at least is not as, not nothing to do, but it was not as big as of an advantage as you think you would have. Right, so e5. I play e5, I open up shop, he goes bishop g3. And then I choose, here I got, not confused, but there's so many moves you can make. King h8 is actually, King h8 from the engine, right? Like, come on, King h8, wow, really. Engine says b6, not playing that one either. Knight c7, I mean, possible, but look at the knights. Like, what are they doing, these knights? And then queen e7's one I did consider, but I chose just a natural move, develop. Bishop e6 to defend the d5 pawn, get the queen off the back rank, connect the rooks. Easy. Castles, and then here it was kind of just weird looking at this now. Even you want to get stronger every single game and every single day. So even, I mean, this is a month ago, but looking at this move now to me doesn't make any sense. But at the time it did. Queen a5 literally doesn't make any sense to me. Now it doesn't even do anything, but I think maybe I wanted queen a4. I don't know what this idea was. I wanted to actually connect the rooks. I do know that for now, but better moves are actually something closer, like queen e7, d7, or again knight to c7. But again, I'm not pressuring white at all, so this is not something that was very appealing to me at all. Queen a5, queen d2, I go rook a to d8, and then he goes g5. I'm like, oh snap, wait a second, this is getting crazy. And I was like, yo, you know what, bro, you know what, hey man, I don't know what's going on. I mean, it doesn't seem like he has everything. And what I didn't like about this is that if I take on g5, I remember seeing lines like pawn takes, and then, okay, what do? Knight takes g5. By the way, knight takes g5 runs into like weird stuff. Like there's an e4 here. There's a bishop takes e5. D takes e5 is actually nice. Then the knight comes into d4, and this is a monster square. And then it's like, wait, who's winning? Wait, what happened, right? What actually happened? And the thing I didn't like is, you know, I have to kind of keep this here is what I thought, because if takes, the knight is always going to have d4, always. Even the engine says, yeah, just play something like king h8. So the idea is if he takes, you could take back with the pawn. But then here, he could play f4. And then f4, I remember looking at this, and I'm like, shoot, I can't push. Or if I do push, he has the d4 square for good. I mean, look at this. Right? So I was like, yo, what happened? Like, what is this weird game? So, in fact, after he played g5, I take and offer a draw, and he accepts, right? Which, because, again, I'm in, like, the fact where, hey, you know, I'm cool with draws here at round 6. I'm not in norm chances. And he's a strong player. So g5, f takes g5. And he was like, all right, cool, bro. Yeah. And we analyzed afterwards. Right. And I was like, bro, what are you doing playing the Jobava? Right. And it's just funny. It was nice to see somebody else play what I really liked, the Jobava London, against me. Right. So, yeah, I didn't play my usual in this game, what I'll play now in the Jobava, which I'm definitely not telling you, of course. But you can play e6, you can play c5, you can play g6, h6, many moves, h6 and a6. These are moves that are very possible, but this one ended in a draw. This was round 6, of course, called the Jobava, right? So hopefully you guys enjoyed this one, and of course we're going to have the other analysis as well, and the analysis of the other tournament, and then Charlotte's coming up at the end of the month. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Subscribe, and leave comments and all that other stuff, and we'll see you guys on the next one.